Right, welcome to We Got a Problem. So, I was watching the Politics Live show earlier, where the Tory MP Ken Clarke, the Guardian columnist Owen Jones, Brexit Party candidate Claire Fox, and the Evening Standard's Sophie Jarvis joined Joe Corbyn to discuss Theresa May's departure, and towards the end they also discussed the EU election. Now, in the EU election discussion, in the clip they show Nigel Farage having milkshake thrown over him, and a Remain activist who wants a second referendum having milk or water thrown over him. I can't see what it was, but it was at a Brexit Party rally. Now, obviously, I condemn anyone throwing anything at anyone from either side because it's pointless and there's no use to it, and it's assault. You shouldn't be doing it. But we then have the Guardians... No, sorry, not the Guardians. The Evening Standard's Sophie Jarvis, who makes this statement about how it's okay to do it to Romy Tomlinson and Sargon of Akkad, or Carl Benjamin, because, in her opinion, they're vile. When surely, if someone did it to you, who doesn't like you, like me, for instance, I think you're vile, Sophie Jarvis, then would it be okay for me to throw it at you? Of course not. Of course it wouldn't be okay. Why would it be okay? That's still assault. How can you throw something at someone just because you don't like them? I don't like you. After seeing this interview, you are abhorrent. So why is it not okay for me to throw it at you? But I suppose you would have a different view on that, wouldn't you? So yeah, I'll let you watch the clip where she says it, and yeah, you can just make your own mind up.
But I think many people agree that the tone wasn't very pleasant. Take a look at this.
It's a complete failure.
So, Femi Olawale there campaigning for a second referendum outside a Brexit Party rally, and before that, Nigel Farage being soaked with a milkshake. Is this worse than it's been in previous European elections?
Oh, in European elections, certainly. They've been very calm in the past, with only a tiny minority taking part.
Well, any elections.
I mean, quite apart, they're particularly vivid scenes of people. Such is the social tension in the country. I think one reassuring thing, thinking of British society, is we haven't had violence. I mean, in most societies, this would have led to actual violence by now. These are extremist crackpots throwing things at each other, and you've got them from both sides there.
Yes.
But the bulk of the public, I still, maybe deceiving himself, still believe, utterly detached from that kind of thing. There's a great mass of the public who are angry we haven't sorted it out, but want it sorted out in a sensible fashion.
Sophie?
And that means something we can live with as our future role in the world and in our trade with Europe in particular, the rest of the world as well.
Now, I'm just going to stop it there, because before I actually show you Sophie's response, which Joe has just asked for, we need to discuss that is how a public figure should respond to something. You see, it was on both sides, and he condemned it either way. That's how someone should respond. And I'm no fan of Ken Clarke, I can tell you that for nothing. But that's how you're supposed to respond. Now let's listen to how Sophie Jarvis, the Evening Standard's staff member, I'm not sure what she actually does for him, but probably nothing good by the sounds of her response here.
I think there's probably a strong argument to say that throwing milkshakes at people like Tommy Robinson and the Carl Benjamin bloke is sort of comic satire in a way, and it sort of makes them look quite ridiculous, because they are, in my opinion, those two characters are ridiculous and vile characters. I think Nigel Farage is an entirely different bit, and so is Femi as well. But Owen, I wanted to ask you: what are your views on Milkshakegate? And do you differ between Tommy Robinson getting a milkshake and someone like Femi getting a milkshake?
Now, I am in utter disbelief at that. Like, how can you sit there and say that it's okay for one person to have milkshakes thrown at them and be assaulted in the street when they're running for political office within the bounds of the law, and not okay for another one? Like, you defend Nigel Farage, who used to go for the same party. I mean, I remember the media calling Nigel Farage a racist back in the day. What's changed now? I expect I could probably find an Evening Standard article on Sophie Jarvis saying it. I might have to have a look at that later on. I mean, you have to imagine, for instance, if I was to go and stand outside 10 Downing Street and throw milk or eggs or something at Theresa May, even though she's going now, but if I was to do that because I disagree with her, which rightfully so, she's an imbecile. She's destroyed Brexit, tried to surrender us to the EU to become a vassal state. So if I was to do that to her, I would be arrested, and rightfully bloody so. Like, it's assault. I would be assaulting her, which is why no one does it. And then you get these lunatics, encouraged by lunatics in the media, like Sophie Jarvis, telling people that it's okay to do it to these two people because you don't agree with their views. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let me know what you think about this in the bloody comments below. I'm bloody annoyed with it. I can't believe that the BBC would even air someone saying that it's okay to attack people. That's literally promoting violence, political violence.